Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome in. It's Hoopsville on a Thursday evening. We haven't done a night show since last season. Welcome in. I'm your host, Dave McHugh, drinking plenty of fluids, as I still can't beat off a cold that I've been dealing with for more than a week. Hope you're enjoying the basketball season. We are halfway through, believe it or not. I can't believe it myself. We are in roughly 6 weeks' time, a little over. We will be knowing who's in the NCAA tournaments in terms of automatic bids and even NPI data. We started this season exactly on the date 2 months ago tonight. And here we are, already halfway through. Conference schedules are going. UAA starts this weekend. So there's a lot to talk about. If you got questions for us, you can tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. You can join us on Instagram and Threads as well in those sections. Oh, it's tough for me to follow those social medias. I'll certainly do my best if I can. If you also want to follow us on Facebook, we're on facebook.com/Hoopsville. Not simulcasting there in a while just due to the headaches that has caused, so I apologize for that. But stick around, we're around. Also, you can email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. We'll try and answer questions wherever you may ask them and do our best to even ask them to coaches if it is so appropriate. Also a reminder, buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. It's at the bottom of your screen with the QR code in the lower corner when we talk to guests. It'll be at the top of your screen in the upper corner as well. You can help us become a member, which means you get access to the Top 25 Double Take show. Monday's show still available only to members as of now. It will be available to the public eventually. And the Off-Court podcast will be starting soon, and you'll have access to that if you sign up for a certain level. And we are just finalizing up some, shop items, different things that you can purchase. Not necessarily T-shirts or anything. We don't have that lined up as of now, but little items like that you can purchase that will supply for a price. So there you go. That's how you do it. That's how you stay in touch. That's how you support us. Buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville. Very important. We can talk about it later in the show. Coming up, let's talk about what's coming up in the show first and foremost, because that's obviously going to gather the most attention on our program this evening. We will be talking to a host of coaches. Almost all of them we've never talked to before, and even programs. Edwind McGhee, I got to check that on my own show page. From North Park Men's Basketball will be joining us. The team is near the top of the CCIW race. One of only, two teams, I think, that's won a road game in the conference as of at least yesterday. He'll join us to talk about his squad. Hirt joins us from Denison Women's Basketball, the only ranked team on our show. Hirt's squad playing extremely well. I wondered where our S went. Sorry, I'm looking over my shoulder and just realizing Millsaps on our board is missing an S. We had to fill it in with something else, and I just found the missing S, so we'll fix that. So Hirt will join us to talk Denison women's basketball in the NCAC. They're having a tremendous season there at Denison. Julie Pritchett will join us from Brandeis women's basketball. Just in her second year, she's got the program turned around. They've got 10 wins already, and they play the vaunted NYU team this weekend to start UAA conference play. She'll talk about some of the comparisons with NYU and team that she is familiar with from her playing days and just the windy road that got her to Brandeis. And Connor Kuykendall will join us to talk Millsaps men's basketball. We catch them on the road as they get ready to play Center and Sewanee this weekend. Those last two interviews we had to pre-record due to conflicts, including the fact that Millsaps is on the road. But the first two will be live tonight. And at the end of the show, we'll have our 2 cents about fan behavior. Getting a little tired of it, to be completely honest, and an embarrassing episode in Vegas. We'll talk about that and how we can all improve to do it better. Plus, we'll try and answer your questions. We'll react to the top 25, where we've already seen some interesting developments. Randolph-Macon is no longer undefeated, and they didn't lose to who I expected them to. I thought there was a chance, and I do realize maybe I was the only one, but I thought there was a chance they could lose to Roanoke. Clay Nunley's team is always ready, and they're always rearing to go, as it were. But nope, they lost to Averett instead, which at least caught me by surprise. Averett got the victory last night in that. I think it was last night. It was a Tuesday night, actually. The days are kind of running together to me, to be honest. That might have been Tuesday night. I apologize. Trying to find it. No, it was last night. Yeah, it was last night. I'm not losing my mind completely. Big win for Averett. Got a late basket to knock off Randolph-Macon. Oshkosh survived and beat La Crosse. So 2 teams in the top 6 lost on the men's side. It was an overtime play between Oshkosh and La Crosse. And Platteville handed Eau Claire a second consecutive loss. That WIAC, as we always expect, is WIAC. And as a voter who's got, how many teams did I have in the WIAC in the top of my poll this week? 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 teams in my top 25, and I'm going to be reevaluating that yet again. So lots of great basketball last night, including on the women's side of things. So it was a little bit more chalky on the women's side. What I'm fascinated by on the men's side is we're so used to so many good teams. Christopher Newport and Johns Hopkins, by the way, played a dandy of a game last night that Christopher Newport won 68-65. On the women's side, it's getting deeper. And while we're not seeing that at the top, we are seeing good basketball. And I know that NYU and Scranton, Hopkins, Smith, et cetera, kind of just walking over everybody at this juncture. It doesn't mean they're not susceptible. Hopkins last night against Swarthmore women's basketball had a head scratcher of a game. Swarthmore, who lost to Washington College and got blitzed by NYU. Washington College, who lost by 30-something to Gettysburg last night. And Swarthmore lost to Washington by 20. Gave Hopkins a game. Now, Hopkins could have been looking ahead in women's basketball to Gettysburg on Saturday. Unfortunately for Gettysburg, a wake-up call for Swarthmore means they're going to be all ready for Gettysburg on Saturday. But it just proves that anybody can beat anybody at any point. And just because you're winning 73 straight like NYU has does not mean that you're going to keep walking through things and make it easy for everybody. And I think that's what makes it so exciting for us, especially who have covered this sport for as long as we have, to see how good this game has gotten over the years in both men's and women's basketball. It's awesome. It's absolutely phenomenal. So looking forward to seeing how the season progresses in the second half. But tonight we'll certainly have some good basketball. Obviously, North Park has a big game coming up this weekend against Illinois Wesleyan. As we mentioned with Brandeis, they've got NYU coming up. Denison's got Worcester, then Oberlin, then John Carroll coming up. Of course, John Carroll's sitting at 11-1 overall, 1-1 in conference play. Worcester's 9-4, 1-1 in conference play. And Millsaps is sitting at the top of the conference in terms of overall record, tried with Trinity, Sewanee, and Oglethorpe at 1-0. And they got games against a good center squad at 7-4 and a good Sewanee squad. So that's why tonight's episode's got those guests on. And any questions that you may have, we'll answer as well. Double checking. We're also, believe it or not, about a month or so away from the first regional rankings. With the end of the season coming this year on the 22nd, I believe. Double checking that. Yeah. Because no. Apologies. End of the season will be March 1st. So the third week of regional rankings will be the week of the 23rd. Second regional rankings the 16th. First regional rankings the 9th. So a month from now, we'll see our first regional rankings. That starts to gather more attention, gets more views, gets more eyes, gets more talk. If you want to know the data and the deep, statistical side of it all, be sure to listen to the D3 Datacast guys. They're diving into those weeds. If you really want to talk math and talk about projections on the women's side. Scott Peterson usually puts out some really good stuff. That's the weed stuff. If you really want to figure that all out, it's worth going into and worth having that conversation. We won't necessarily dive into those particulars because those guys are better at it than we are. But we'll certainly talk about the ramifications of a team in whatever spot, winning and losing, and how that will impact them. And, of course, teams that need to win the conference to get in. That'll be part of our kind of shtick. A reminder with the buymeacoffee.com/hoopsville, that's where you can see my ballot. Now, I want to apologize to the subscribers and members so far. You're missing a couple ballots from me. That's because I keep forgetting to hit publish, keep hitting save. We'll get that resolved by tomorrow, and you'll see the last 2 polls from me. But every week you get to see my ballot, and those will be out there very shortly for all of you. Top 25 is not easy. This past week was hard. We talked about that on the Double Take show. On the men's side especially, it was difficult. I don't know. Trinity, in my opinion, is an overall number 1 slam dunk. One voter who had Randolph-Macon as their number 1 is going to have to look for a new number 1 team. I know who that number 1 voter is based on who I know, and he's publicly put out his ballot. I know where he's voting Trinity, and it's not number 1. That person's going to have to reevaluate their vote. I don't think it's going to go to Trinity. But Emory starts conference play against Rochester, who looks good this year. Chicago starts conference play against WashU, who obviously is good, as both teams are in the top 10. So you're going to get more top 10 losses because it's by default. Well, WashU, actually, apologies. Let me double check that. Where is WashU in the men's poll? Oh, yeah, they're the number 8. I apologize. I was looking at Barry Washington at 7. So you're definitely going to have an upset there. Montclair, by the way, looked really good against NJCU last night. I think they hit earlier this week, 19 3-pointers. St. Thomas is looking good. La Crosse has already lost. Mount Union's undefeated, but it's not like they got an easy go of it coming up. They've got Wilmington, then Capital, then Heidelberg. Top 10 is going to take some beating. And the real question is, can Trinity hold on? They're entering conference play themselves. They've got at Middlebury this weekend, along with at Williams, before then hosting Amherst and Hamilton before playing a non-conference game in Western New England, before then traveling for 3 to round out the month at Wesleyan Connecticut College Tufts. Can they get through this conference schedule unfazed? We'll see how good James Cosgrove's squad is. That will probably determine if they stay number 1. Might be one of those cases I voted the past as number 1 team who's undefeated loses, and I kept them number 1, depending on what else happened. Lots to talk about, like I said, including on the women's side as well. But we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to jump out into the central region and talk to the CCIW semi-co-leaders with 1 loss, North Park Vikings. Coach McGhee will talk to us about what is working so darn well for his squad this season, and just the bonkerness that is always the CCIW. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios. So much packed into this show tonight. Thanks for joining us on the old school night version of Hoopsville.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all.
It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor.
It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. If you got questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, email us hoopsville at d3sports.com. You can also join us on the live stream. A couple questions got redacted by Brooke Reed, or Brooker Reed. I don't know who that is. We'd be happy to answer your questions if you got any. Fire them away. Lots of ways you can even email us, hoopsville at d3sports.com. All right, CCIW. We already know there won't be an undefeated team in the CCIW. Shocker, right? I mean, that's like as consistent as death in Texas, that there won't be and an undefeated team in the NFL for that matter. But until last night, winning on the road was just about impossible. That number went from 2 to 4 thanks to last night's games. But one of those teams that has pulled it off is the North Park Vikings, who, by the way, having a pretty darn good season if you haven't been paying attention. And I have a feeling there's plenty who are not paying attention, to be honest. Hang on a second. I just screwed up my own sheet here. There we go. This new setting in Google is kind of screwing me up. North Park is 10-3 this season. Last year, 14-12. Year before, 11-14. Of course, remember the magic of the 24-6 campaign and the 22-23 campaign. How good is this team, and what do they look like when it comes to conference play? Well, joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to answer some of our hard-hitting questions is the head coach of North Park. It's Edwind McGhee. Coach, good to see you. Welcome to the show. Congratulations. Midpoint of the season, looking good.
Appreciate you, Dave, for having me. It's an honor. Appreciate you guys.
Oh, let me try that again. I muted my mic. 10-3 on this season. 3-1 in conference play. 2-game winning streak. You got past North Central in overtime on the road last night. Eau Claire is your last loss. You have a loss to Carroll as well and one to La Crosse. When you look at this resume, you guys, I mean, heck, a triple overtime win over Stevens Point's looking better and better every day. You got to be pretty pleased.
Yeah, we're very, very happy where we are right now. And the talk about, throughout our team is not being complacent of where we are, just wanting more and continue to practice it that way. So, but very pleased with where we are, 13 games in. Obviously, the CCIW is a gauntlet this year. So it's going to be a fun ride all the way through. So we're just excited that we're in contention as of the moment and trying to remain there.
You guys had to go through some of the lumps a little bit coming off that 24-6 season, coaching changes and all of that stuff. You take over. Was this about the point where you thought you guys could be back in the mix?
Yeah, man. I shout out to Coach Sean Smith, who's over at South Dakota now. We established something, we thought would be special here. And great thing about it is that people notice, especially student athletes who want to come here, notice what we do and how we do it and want to be a part of it. So, yeah, man, I mean, the expectation now is to win, whereas before we got here, wasn't that, at this level, and having some national recognition here and there helps us as well. But no, the expectation is to win. I've won in the past at other places as well. So for us, that's what the expectation is and is what it's going to be, especially coming, here from North Park, where, we have 5 national championships here. So this is a spot where winning has always happened, and we want to continue to push back towards where that was, years and years ago.
When you look back at that run that Sean kind of helped craft with the coaching staff like yourself, there was a lot of transfers taking advantage of the post-COVID opportunities, trying to get guys in who wanted to play, and some of the changes in the NCAA. And a lot of people thought that'd be the model of the future. Granted, the extra year has run out, right? We don't have that extra year anymore. It doesn't feel like that's necessarily the bread and butter now of how to win in D3. What are you guys doing now? Are you still relying on transfers, or are you trying to do it different again?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's funny you say that. I think we're probably in our league alone probably take the most transfers for sure. And I think there's different ways that you can win. For my philosophy, I prefer having some older guys that's done in other places and been in college battles before. But we also take a lot of young guys as well. Right now we're starting freshman Marquise Vance, who's from Chicago Mirrors. So I'm no perspective person. I think that whoever is going to come and help us be successful, regardless if they're a freshman or a 22-year-old transfer, we'll figure it out. So, I know we're a lot different when you look at our roster. We got a few guys from a few different places. And the biggest thing about that is just establishing the culture, right? The great thing about this group that we have is that they want to be coached, no matter where they came from, no matter what their situations were before. They want to be coached and have shown that and continue to show that on a daily basis. So for us, we're not probably the typical Division III when it comes to the lot of 4-year guys. We'll have some 4-year guys, but we do take our number of transfers as well to kind of mix in there.
Well, what's interesting is you got a guy like junior guard Mike Vukovic, who was an end of the bench guy last season. If anybody was looking at the depth chart this season and looked at your team from last year, I don't know if Mike's necessarily standing out as a guy to key on, and yet he's leading the team and I think even the conference in scoring at 21 points a game. Yeah. He's shooting 54% from the floor, 44% from deep, averaging 5 boards as well. Plus he's dishing out a ton of assists. Yeah. That's kind of that nuance, right? If you got a guy who can develop and suddenly he's available for you. Yeah, no doubt. And Mike was actually a transfer from Harper College, but we got him for a few years here. But Mike is a testament to number one, his work ethic, and just the development that we do here as well. Mike took the challenge last year. He didn't play maybe 10 minutes of all last year, which it's a story in itself. And now is evolved to one of the best players in the CCIW, and now he's getting national recognition. I think he's won Player of the Week 2 or 3 times already here in CCIW play. But our end of the year meetings last year, especially with Mike, was, hey, man, these are the things that we're looking for you to do to get better. And then if you can do those things, we think you can help us. And he took that. His body's changed a ton. He hit the weight room. He's a lot stronger than he was a year ago, a lot smarter basketball player than he was a year ago. And one thing about Mike, he's relentless. He's going to battle. He's going to work. He's going to fight. It's gotten him opportunities where he's not only playing, but, a big part of what we do. He played 7 games last year, a total of 25 minutes.
25 minutes. There we go.
Yeah. 13 starts in 13 games, 450 minutes this year. And again, shoots incredibly well, passes the ball incredibly well. Yeah, it's a fascinating story, and I assume that's the easy one you can now use to others, right? Go, hey, be like Mike.
100%. We actually do. A lot of our recruiting pitches, we use that. Also with the freshmen that we have now, they're still trying to figure it out. Like, hey, but Mike played, his share of JV games last year, just to be ready and continue to play games. And that's one thing that we harp on in our development, is that the only way that you get better at basketball is to play, right? And if it's not at the varsity level at this moment, you're going to play in JV games so you can get your feet wet, so you can understand the system and how we play. And there's the only way that you really can truly develop is by playing games. And Mike did that last year, and now obviously it's proved to help him this year.
You guys have 5 guys in double figures. Colton Van Landingham is number 2 at 15 points a game. Julian Campbell at 13.5. Marquise Vance at 11.5, 10.5 for William Bates. And not trying to ignore anybody else, because you still have contributions from Gray and Thomas and others. Thomas only in 3 games, though, and Gray in 5. But what's it like to have that many scoring options on a team that's scoring 91 plus a game?
Well, I'll say the guys love it, obviously. I do too. I think the way that we've, the way that we play and our style of play helps us a lot too with this balanced scoring. Our assist numbers are way up. I think we lead the league in assists as well. We have an unselfish group, right? I think at the end of the day, it doesn't matter who scores. Guys understand that we're trying to get the best shot possible. And with that, we're able to score the way that we are. We shoot it pretty well from a collective as well, which allows for us to space the floor differently than a lot of other teams. Especially we have a few big guys that can stretch the floor out and knock some shots down as well. So it's fun to watch. It's fun to play in. Guys obviously love it. So for us, we were just trying to continue on with the success we're having, especially on the offensive end, by sharing the basketball the way that we do.
Last night, you scored 92 in overtime over at North Central. The night previous game, Concordia, Chicago, you put up 98, but Eau Claire, you put up 66. There's a handful of other games you put up 70s or 60s, and there's a bunch of games, including overtime games, where you've put up over 100. Granted, Greenville's a system game, 138. Which is this team? Is this a team that's comfortable more in a high-scoring affair, or is what we're seeing those low-scoring games where you guys kind of shuffle your feet a little?
I think we've succeeded in a majority of our high scoring games. For me, we're not where we want to be defensively at all for my liking. But we're doing enough to get wins and get it done. So that's been a conversation that we've had repeatedly in our practices, is about just getting better defensively and allowing for our defense to become part of our offense as well. We do a really good job of running and getting out and playing in transition. So for us, our next step is generating more and more stops so we can do that. We pride ourselves in trying to win games. Doesn't matter if it's high scoring, low scoring. If it's low scoring, we're just trying to score more points than the other team, and that might cause us to not shoot the ball well. But just figuring out ways to win, which this group has done thus far.
You are a team that is not afraid to share it. You've got we mentioned Vukovic's assists. Well, Van Landingham's got nearly 80 already this season, which I think is it's top 20 maybe in the nation. You got an offense that obviously puts up a lot of points. That certainly ranks high. Is it hard to get the guys to understand that sharing is caring to a sense?
No, not with this group. Obviously we have a lot of talented guys that can go get baskets, which it's the way we recruit, just based on our system. And the number one thing that we talk about on the offensive end is making sure that we're trying to get the best shot possible. And guys trust each other enough to share it. And we have different philosophies of how we share it and what we want to do. But no, it's just part of our DNA now. And guys notice it now when, there are plays to make that we don't make, or if we over dribble and we missed a wide open guy, guys will point it out. And so it's starting to be innate in us as far as how we want to share the basketball and play. And obviously with the scoring that we're doing now, guys are kind of buying into it a lot more because we've shown some success in it as well.
You come by way of DePaul, which as a Chicago guy myself, I certainly know rules the roost in Chicago to some degree.
For sure.
What is it about the D3 game that seems to have captured your mind and heart a little bit? You spent some time coaching at NAIA, but then you joined North Park's coaching staff. Now you've stayed at least for now. What is it about this conference, this division, et cetera, that you seem to be enjoying?
Well, number one is this institution has been great. North Park is a gem. I'm blessed to be here. Thank God daily about the situation that we're in. But it's a gym, and we're excited that we're having an opportunity to impact, winning, but also impact the school and the community here, which is a lot of fun. But the 3-3 model is great, man. I think there's a lot of misconceptions about it. There's a lot of people that don't understand the level of basketball that's being played at this level, and for us, we're excited to be a part of that, especially at in national conversations and those things. But the guys that you have here, they're here about playing, they're about winning, they're about competing, which is a lot of fun. Where a lot of obviously at the Division I level, a lot of stuff is monetary, and as there's a lot of transactions that go on. Where here, we're able to use our personalities to draw student athletes here, and we're able to use our facilities to draw student athletes here. And we tell guys all the time, like, we feel like we have but the best staff in the country as far as personal development and, personalities and understanding kids and understanding where guys come from. And we want to harp on those things and gain and continue to mold relationships with our guys, which we do on a daily basis. So that's one thing you'll say if you ask any of our guys about the relationships that we have, and they'll tell you that, we love them unconditionally. And that's one thing I think at this level that you're able to do a lot more because of the lack of like the transactional things that might go on at upper levels.
Not a bad part of the city either, off Foster Avenue, right near Northeastern U.
Yes, sir.
Not too far from the lake. It's a pretty nice part of town.
No doubt. We love it up here.
What's the rest of this season going to be like? Obviously, Illinois Wesleyan's coming up on Saturday. The Titans are, by their name, Titans. You're going to have to hit the road to deal with them. They're sitting a half game behind you in conference play in what is proving to be a pretty always tough CCIW schedule. What are you expecting from Illinois Wesleyan on Saturday?
And they're obviously really well coached with Coach Rose down there, and they're always physical. They always play well at home. So for us, we're expected a battle, which the last few years has been that, regardless if they're here or there. And for us, it's just playing as consistently as we possibly can on both ends of the floor. We can't make a lot of mistakes against that team. They're a really, really good team, really well coached. So for us, is limiting our mistakes and giving us a chance to win. I've been using baseball terminology a little bit about just hitting singles. Hitting singles every possession, which allows for us to ultimately at the end win games, right? If you hit enough singles, you'll score some runs. So for us, it's just trying to make sure that we're doing the right thing on the both ends of the floor consistently enough to where, we have an opportunity to give ourselves a chance to win.
Kind of getting most of your hard travel out of the way early because Carthage will be after that. You do have Augustana in February, but that means you kind of stay a little closer to home. After this Carthage one, it's probably nice, especially with the weather, to get it done with early.
Yeah, no question. Yeah, well, the sooner the better for us. I appreciate that. You never know with Chicago weather either. So the sooner the better. I saw a little bit of sun today, and it was about 50 degrees. So if we could have played today, it would have been great to play today. So, just trying to stay in front of the weather and some of those things. But it doesn't matter for us really. Like we're trying to prepare ourselves to play in any conditions and any type of situations, day in and day out. Our guys have shown a lot of resiliency, which is part of one of our core pillar words that we use throughout our program is our resilience. And our guys have shown that regardless of the situations that we've been in this year. So it doesn't matter to us. We'll play anywhere at any time. And we're just excited that we have the opportunity to.
As an outsider, you have a perspective coming into the CCIW of not maybe knowing it very well and getting to learn it. We've had a bit of turnover in coaches in this conference that I remember for a while it never seemed was ever going to happen. What is it about the CCIW, though, that stayed the same despite all the turnover, coaches coming from outside the conference, et cetera? What allows the conference to still be the same type of player, the same type of styles, the same type of battles year in and year out, despite those changes?
I think we do a really good job as a conference of recruiting. We got a lot of good players in this league, man, from the top of the top to our lower teams who got some really good players. So it's very well balanced, as far as the talent in the league for us. And I think that's one thing that's remained consistent. The coaching is really, really good as well. It actually pushed me to be better. And these guys in this league are really good. And some of them are some seasoned vets and some guys that I look up to a little bit too. So no, it's been fun to learn and just grow as a coach in this as well. So I think that's two things I'll say to remain consistent. The coaching has been really, really good here in the CCIW, and also recruiting with the players that we have in this league is also really good.
I know it's a loaded question, but can this team win the conference?
Can this team?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is it going to take?
I think, like I said before, I think it's going to take us being consistent in the things that we do. I like our depth this year. I like the way that we can shoot the basketball this year. I think we're bigger in some areas where we weren't as before, as far as positional size that we have. So I think this group can. I think these guys talk about it, and I try to keep us present as much as possible. I said, the next game is the next game, and that's the only one we can worry about. One of the trick questions I ask them every day is I ask the guys, what's the most important day of the week? Guys are like, Wednesdays when we play, coach, or Saturdays. No, today. Today is the most important day of the week, right? And it's always going to be the most important day of the week. So for us, it's just staying present. And I think if these guys are able to stay present and we can continue to stay resilient and together, we'll have an opportunity for sure.
And curious, how do you prepare for the different environments you're going to enter? I mean, playing at Illinois Wesleyan is different than playing at Carthage. It's different than playing at Augustana. Some of those places are crazy. How do you guys prepare for that stuff?
That's a great question. I think for us, so we try to do our best non-conference schedule to play tougher teams and in environments that allow for us to experience those things. We went up to Eau Claire a couple of weeks ago, right before Christmas, and I don't know how many people were in there, maybe 2,000 to 3,000, but it was busting, it was packed, and it was a lot of people in there, and it was loud, and it kind of gives you that vibe that you might have at a Wesleyan, or a vibe that you might get at a Carthage or Augustana. So for us, right, like we try to put us in those positions early on, especially with non-conference games, and allow for guys to feel that and play in that way. And for us, again, the only thing that we try to concern ourselves with is us. Majority of the time, obviously, we got to do scouting reports and know certain guys and what they do in the schemes that we want to put out there. But the most important thing is worrying about us and doing what we do really, really well in order for us to win games. So we're going to continue to do those things and hopefully have some opportunities to continue to be successful.
Well, hey, great to chat with you. I appreciate the insight on the Vikings. Congratulations on what has been an absolute outstanding season. Obviously, a lot ahead, and I know the work is yet to be complete, but I'm sure you're proud of the guys at this point. We have a tradition on this show. We always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who are tuned in?
Bear down, baby. Let's do it. Saturday. Bear down.
Perfectly said. I hear you. Big game coming up. Looking forward to it. Take care of yourself. Safe travels. Enjoy Chicago, as I know you will. Have a couple pieces of deep dish for me. Would you mind?
No problem. No doubt. Gotcha.
Awesome. I appreciate it. Not that I need it, but I'll live vicariously through you.
Sounds good. Appreciate you, Dave.
Take care, Coach. Edwind McGhee joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Good to chat with him. That team is playing well. Again, big game against Illinois Wesleyan coming up in a battle of the CCIW. We'll take a break. When we come back, switch gears, women's basketball, head to Ohio, talk Denison with the Big Red. Mo Hirt joins us to talk about her squad. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops. Back with more after this.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that. A lot more.
Sure, the game is important. But as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC1927 on social media.
Responsibility is being accountable for your words and actions, first and foremost. It also is an obligation to be a positive influence in the communities around you. Being in a D3 program, you're going to have lots of different opportunities. You're not just an athlete, you're also involved in student life. Your academics are extremely important. We give a lot of our student athletes responsibilities right from the start by giving them leadership opportunities, by having them engage in the community, be a positive influence. That's being a responsible person.
There are over 480,000 college athletes. Only 2% will go pro. That means over 470,000 will not get a shoe contract. No autographs. No private jets. No fan clubs. No Hall of Fame inductions. Instead, they will walk away with something much more valuable.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Got to click the mic, Dave. Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. Going down the tilt board, North Park check. Denison next in women's basketball. We'll be talking to Hirt here shortly. 16th ranked team is undefeated. And the way women's basketball is going, I don't think there's going to be a lot of undefeated teams left by the end of the regular season. If you got questions for us, email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. You can tweet us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. Join us in the chat room. I forgot to check it during our interview there. No one else has joined us, but join us in the YouTube chat room if you need. You can ask questions there as well. Still to come, Brandeis women and Millsaps men on the show. Looking forward to the conversations there as well. All right, so Denison, 13-0 after a 15-11 campaign last year, 20-7 the year before that. So yeah, if you've figured it out already, they've almost hit the win mark from last year at the midway point of this year. Some pretty solid wins along the way, and coming up, they got Worcester, Oberlin, and then John Carroll in what is definitely a little bit of an early battle for the top of the conference. Denison, Ohio Wesleyan are undefeated at 2-0. John Carroll, Worcester, Wittenberg, Oberlin are all 1-1. DePauw, surprisingly, 0-2, with Kenyon 0-2 as well. What to make of the Big Red? And it's not just some, fun little gum that you get to hang out with in your mouth. Joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline is Mo Hirt, the head coach of the aforementioned Denison Big Red, who are 13-0. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me, Dave. I'm excited to talk about Denison and D3 hoops.
Yeah, I'm glad you found some time because I've been wanting to. I debated about having you guys on earlier in the season. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait. And then I get to that point, I'm like, if I wait any longer, here we are. Granville, Ohio's got to be happy because this squad, and I love the pictures, by the way, on the front page of your women's basketball page. This team looks like it's having a lot of fun, and people have got to be responding to that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's been really, really fun. I mean, we got a great community around us. Granville's such a nice spot, and obviously athletics are really important to us here. And there's a history of success in this program and across sports as like the whole entire department. So it's been really fun to be a part of it, and excited about what this group's doing. We're hoping to keep it rolling.
We should point out before we talk about your team, Denison sports in general are kind of. Listen, Denison's always been a school that I know has wanted to take athletics seriously, but you guys, I mean, lacrosses have started to become extremely competitive on the national scale. The soccer programs this is an overall conversation. This isn't just hey, look, the women's basketball team's doing well. Oh, hey, look, men's basketball was 24-4 last year. Like, this is a concerted effort across the board, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean it's a culture. It's a culture. I mean the expectation is that everybody's competing at a really high level and playing on the national stage. So we're excited that the women's basketball program. This is my 4th season now at Denison that we're getting on that level playing field with everybody else and competing on the national stage. So it's been fun, and there's a lot of support for us for sure.
I just realized I've got your nickname Mo on the graphic instead of Maureen, but we're gonna go with it. I like it. I like Mo Hirt. It sounds like it's gonna hurt more and more.
Yeah. Rolling off the tongue.
Yeah, it does. This team, you got a 30-point win over Kenyon. You played Roanoke in non-conference play and beat them handily by 23. You beat Albright easily. Otterbein gave you a bit of a game. Case Western you beat by double digits. DePauw you beat by 7. One of those 2 conference games that they've lost. Ohio Northern you tripped up by 9. Transylvania you beat by 4. And granted, it's not the Transylvania from a handful of years ago who's on the way to a national title, but it's still a good Transy group. This squad feels like it's clicking in a lot of ways, and I'm curious, what's the difference between this team and the 15-11 campaign last year?
Yeah, I think the big thing is we've been healthy this year. We've gotten we had some key injuries last year and being able to get that group healthy. But, we talk about this has been 4 years in the making, in terms of just really laying a good foundation. And it's really cool to see it come to fruition this year. And when I got here, just getting people that really want to compete at a high level and want to win and compete and be part of a really good culture. I think that's been a big part of it and been a big reason that we've been able to have this stretch so far.
It's not like you're not familiar with this area. You're not familiar with this conference. You're not familiar with some of the opponents. You are a Kenyon grad, we should point out. What is it about, and by the way, other times you were at Oberlin as well and elsewhere. So you know this region well. What is it about this Denison program that you thought was worth taking over? They were coming off of a 9-14 year, 2-6 in the COVID, whatever season, a couple of 18-19 win seasons before that. What did you see in this program that you thought, that's the place for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think Denison is like one of the best jobs across Division III, right? I think there's so much support. The academics here, I think we have one of the best college presidents. He's always on the cutting edge of everything going on with the NCAA, our academic offerings. And when you're talking about liberal arts, we offer data analytics, global commerce. We're staying on the cutting edge of those majors that are competitive for good careers. And, just athletics, like you said at the beginning of the show. I mean, there's a history of success here. So Sarah Lee, who was the head coach before I got to Denison, is still at Denison and was there for 33 years and had a lot of success. So I knew that we could get back to that level. It was just a matter of getting after a little bit on the recruiting end of things and getting, like I said, some big competitive, committed, passionate kids to take a little bit of a chance on us,
The program seems to have a very common Division III thing, and that's it ebbs and flows based. It looks like on recruiting. Like you get that really good class, and you ride it for 4 years. You steadily get better and better, and then you kind of lull off. Then you get steadily better and better, and then you lull off. And the program never got ever bad. I mean, 13-13 back in 2013. 9-14 was the oddity in 2022. But I'm seeing more and more programs are trying to change that mentality and be consistent all the time. What's the difference? How do you get there? Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's the key to sustained success, right? Is, being able to recruit really competitive classes every single year. And so that's something that we get after it on the recruiting realm. What's fun about Denison is we get to recruit nationally. So, in our first year class, we have California, Colorado, and Connecticut on our roster. And I think we have 12 states represented on our team. So, I think we're competing with really good programs, the UAAs, the NESCACs, the Hopes of the world. So I think, we're in those conversations, which is really good. But like I said initially, right, I brought in my first recruiting class. It was 7 kids, and we were 9-16 the year prior, and then my first year we improved it by 1. We were 10-16, and they took a little bit of a chance and said, "Hey, like we want to be a top 25 women's basketball program. We want to compete at the top of the NCAC. We want to compete on the national stage." And we hadn't done it in recent years, and they took a little bit of a leap of faith and said, "Hey, I want to be a part of this." And it's cool to see them, that hard work pay off and that trust come to fruition.
What's interesting is this NCAC's. It used to be all about DePaul, right? Like DePaul. And it's evolved. Ohio Wesleyan's gotten into the mix. You got some other teams that finally started to kind of play spoiler a little bit. John Carroll's now in the conference, which has obviously changed things even more dynamically. And now we see, as we said, DePaul's 7-6, 0-2 in conference play. This isn't the DePaul conference anymore. And it seems like a lot of you have said, yeah, we're capable of winning this too, and we're not afraid of the big old DePaul.
Yeah. I mean, obviously Chris Huffman is a legendary coach, and they're so tough. I mean, they're competitive. They're going to get it rolling. They're going to compete at a high level. But yeah, I mean, the addition of John Carroll's been awesome. I think, a lot of people are like, "Oh my gosh, you got John Carroll. You probably wish that did not." I mean, Beth is doing a great job there, and we have like a 3-bid conference, maybe 4-bid conference right now. And that's huge. I mean, like you said, I played at Kenyon, and to see this conference evolve and for us to be in the conversation, right? It's a lot of people talk about when it's like Division III hoops, you talk about the Wisconsin schools, the UAAs, and the NESCACs, but the NCAC here, is making some noise. So it's really cool to see that and be a part of that.
You have 3 seniors on this team, and if memories, quick double check, none of them are in the kind of the top group in terms of scoring. What I mean by that is, by the way, everybody, this group comes back. This is a team that's learning this year to play and will be bringing most of it back, you would assume. Talk to me a little bit. You're led by Abby Kuch at 13.5 points a game. You got Ada Tout at 11.5. Adeline Moore at 8, plus I'm not going to say Anelli's last name correctly, so I'm not going to butcher it on air and be a complete moron. But she's scoring 8 points a game as well, and they shoot well. Tell me a little bit about what that quad does to tick and what everybody else does to contribute.
Yeah, I think the thing that's really contributed to our success is our depth this year, right? We go 10 or 11 deep. We're really trying to play up-tempo, fast-paced, and so what's nice is you can't shut down 1 or 2 people and be good to go. Like, I think everybody, all 5 players on the court at one time can all score. Anybody can go off for a big game. Obviously, Abby Kuch is having a great year. She's our point guard and kind of leads the ship. But, Ada Towdy's back healthy. She tore her ACL in the first 5 minutes of our first game last year, and she's back stronger than ever. And she's a Swiss Army knife. She can play the 1 through the 4. And we've got some great shooters, like you said. Brooke Toigo, a senior for us, is a great shooter. Alan Moore came to us as a transfer and joined that junior class, and she can shoot lights out. We got Violet Mitchell. We just got a lot of versatility on our squad, and so it's really tough to take one or two options away because somebody else is going to step up. And Annalie cleans up a lot for us defensively. She's a huge shot blocker for us, and she's developing great. She's healthy this year, so it's a really exciting group. And on any given night, anybody can have a great game.
We'll be talking to Julia Pritchett coming up on Brandeis, and when she and I talked, we talked a little bit about this kind of yin and yang of the guard and center option that they have. You have the same. You've got Cooch and Tout. Cooch is your guard on the outside. Tout's your 6-foot center in the middle. I know there's a lot more pieces than that, but on the face of it, when your two leading scorers are in two drastically different positions, automatically I know for a defense that means it's pick your poison.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We play inside out, and we're pressing this year. We're doing a run and jump press, and that's been really fun. And we have the athleticism at the center position to be able to do that well too. And like I said, even if they beat us down court, Annalie's usually getting a block or, a really contested shot. So that's been really fun. But yeah, I mean, they got to guard all 5 positions, and there's a lot of versatility, right? Being able to play inside out too at some of those like forward positions for us. So it's our job as coaches to get all the puzzle pieces together. So that's what we're trying to do.
Out rebounding your opponents by 10, you're outscoring your opponents by 22. You play most games 11 players deep. Is that because you've got a team that can go 10, 11 deep, or because you've had a lot of games that you're in so much in control that you're able to go to the bench and get players some experience?
Yeah, I think it's a combination right now. I mean, we do have the depth this year, and there's not a drop off. Like in previous years, we really couldn't take, besides the starting like 7 people in rotation, we couldn't take them off the floor very much. But this year we don't have a drop off. Abby Cooch used to play basically 40 minutes a game, and now we have Izzy McFadden, our first year, that's been able to give her breathers and continue to elevate that position. So I think our depth is kind of our secret weapon this year, and we play fast. And so to play at that intensity level and keep it here every single game, you got to go a little bit deeper, and we're lucky that we got the depth to be able to go far, I think, this season.
Coming up, Worcester on the road, a team that's sitting in 4th in the conference, 9-4 overall. Then you're at Oberlin, who's certainly come along. Oberlin is one of the other reasons this conference, Stephanie Drumyer certainly has had a team that has had a lot of eyes on them. They're a little off of a year, but still. And then after that, you've got this kind of run of John Carroll, Wittenberg, then Ohio Wesleyan. I know you're only looking at the game ahead of you.
Right.
But Johns Hopkins last night kind of reminded me in their game against Swarthmore that a team can inadvertently still be looking at their next game, which for them was Gettysburg on Saturday. How do you keep this team focused on Worcester, Oberlin, etc., knowing that you got to get wins there so that the John Carroll, Ohio Wesleyan games mean more?
I think you hit the nail on the head. You got to take it one day at a time. You got to take it one practice at a time. And that's the thing I think I've learned as a young coach is you can't look that far ahead, right? You got to respect every single opponent. Worcester's on a run. I think they're on a 4-game win streak, just beat Wittenberg for the first time since like 2017. So our focus is on them and really being able to shut down their best players and continue to play our game. So we just focus on getting 1% better every day in practice, making sure that we're staying super competitive. And I think the results show on the court on Wednesdays and Saturdays.
What's written on the whiteboard, as it were, as a reminder to this team when they come into the locker room?
Our big program mantra, we talk about being 2 feet in, and that just means like being 100% committed to being the best player, teammate, person you can be. And I think we have 18 kids on our roster right now that are all very committed. And I think that's the unique thing about this team too, is like everybody's role is valued, whether they play a bunch of minutes, whether they play no minutes, like they all truly play for one another and really compete at a high level every day in practice, 1 through 18, which I think has been a key to our success too.
Obviously a lot still to play, a lot on the line. Even if it's midway through, these games mean a lot. How do you also keep this team fresh and not wear out from the grind of it all?
Yeah, I think that's a really important piece of this too, is like load management and understanding when you can push and when you maybe need to have a little bit heavier film day or yoga session or whatever it is. You got to balance. It's a really long season. And so we really have really great strength and conditioning coaches and trainers that kind of help us knowing who's maybe trending down, who's at their baseline. So we really try to manage on court. And I'm a big Indiana Hoosiers fan. So Curt Cignetti, I don't know if you've seen a lot of his stuff, but he talks about, the hour and a half practices and keeping his staff and players fresh. So I've been taking a little bit of that and really trying to be efficient with our practice time and make sure we're getting in and getting out.
Are you allowed to admit you're an Indiana fan while living in the state of Ohio?
I know it's tough. A lot of Buckeye fans, and angry Buckeye fans now too. So
very
we'll
angry. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Well, good luck. If let me know if you survive this.
I'll try.
Hey, well, I appreciate the insight and get to know Denison a little bit more. I just love I love talking to new programs, right? So the fact that you guys have emerged and gotten to the point where this is a conversation to be had, but I also love how much this conference has changed, and it gives us something more to talk about, especially on the women's side. So I appreciate you coming on and chatting with us and humoring us. We have a tradition on the show. We always give the coach the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
Well, I just want to thank you, Dave, I think, for all you do for Division III hoops and putting us on the national stage. I think Division III is becoming one of the purest forms of sports with all that's navigating with the NCAA, and I just appreciate all the work that you put into covering women's sports and Division III hoops. And I would say to any young coaches that are listening, just trust your gut and continue to stay true to your core values. And you're going to be on talk shows like this and having these conversations when you put in the work and you trust in who you are and what you believe.
Well said there at the end. I agree with you completely on that. And I also agree about the pureness of the sport. This is why we love it so much. Thank you so much. And we can do our work because coaches like yourself are willing to come on. Thank you very much. Good luck the rest of the way. Look forward to catching up with you down the road.
Thank you so much, Dave.
Hirt joining us from Denison women's basketball. Again, big game against Worcester because every game in the conference is going to be big. Still undefeated at 13-0, 2-0 in conference play. Keep an eye on them. Keep an eye on that race. It's going to be fun the rest of the way. When we come back, like I said, head out to Boston, talk to Brandeis women's basketball, and still ahead, Millsaps men's basketball. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3 Hoops from the WBCA studios. So much more ahead.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
I believe sportsmanship is a mutual admiration and respect for your fellow competitors. We all go through a lot to reach the point where we compete against one another. It's important to realize that. So once we're finally on the field or on the court or on the starting block, we look at each other as fellow human beings and not just competitors. Being able to recognize the hard work that other athletes are putting in creates a more positive and inclusive environment.
We are calling you, all of you. We are calling all Division III schools to join our cause.
It's on us to start the change. It's on us to be the change. It's on us. It's on Division III. It's on all of us to stop sexual assault.
Comprehensive learning is being able to adapt to experiences and apply the things that I learned. Being an athlete and juggling academics helped me grow as a person, and things that I've learned, I was able to apply it in another field, putting them into everyday life. Developing comprehensive learning helped me prioritize certain things to make sure I get to where I want to be.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics. And in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
Welcome back to Hoopsville on this Thursday evening old school event. I'm your host, Dave McHugh. If you got questions for us, continue to send them our way. Hoopsville at d3sports.com. You can also email or tweet at us at D3Hoopsville or hashtag Hoopsville. Airing this show as we always are live, though we do have some recorded segments like this one coming up. It is time for the last conference in Division III to finally get into conference play. It is the UAA, always delayed because they don't have a conference tournament. And this weekend, the rivals will take each other on in both men's and women's basketball. That means Chicago, WashU, Carnegie Mellon, and Case Western. The random one, which is Rochester and Emory, and of course Brandeis and NYU. In women's basketball, that's an interesting matchup. NYU obviously still undefeated, marching their way and trying to break the Division III record later this season. But conference play could be their toughest test, and it starts this weekend with Brandeis, who is 10-1 this season, with Julie Pritchett leading the way as head coach. Perfect time, wouldn't you say, to go to the Hoopsville Hotline and bring in the head coach of the Judges. Coach, good to see you. Thanks for taking the time. Congratulations on the season so far.
Thank you so much for having me, Dave.
Absolutely. I appreciate you finding some time. We should point out for you, those watching live, we are pre-recorded. Listen, 10-1, let's just start there. We can go elsewhere from there, but 10-1 this season. The lone loss is to Tufts, not certainly a bad loss by any stretch of the imagination, and a tight one at that by 5, some solid wins in there. You got to be pretty impressed with how your team has responded to this campaign.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with our kids. Are we a little ahead of where I thought we'd be? We actually are. But we have a group of seniors. We have 6 seniors and a grad student in that senior group that have a lot of experience. We have really strong post play, and they're able to, when we make mistakes defensively, they're able to help us like clean up a lot of mistakes. So I think we've been really competitive on the defensive end, and with our experience and our leadership. We've just had a really strong start, and the kids are so motivated and so connected. It's been a lot of fun to coach them.
You say early start. This is the second season that you're in charge. We'll talk a little bit about what you walked into later, but yeah, I mean, a lot of coaches who take over a program have to kind of remold it into their own. They're hoping for maybe a solid first year if they can build off of what a team has. But worst case scenario, you're looking 3-4 years down the road, right? You got to get recruits in. You got to get ideas put in place. You got to get everybody to understand the concepts. 10-1 second year, and best start since 08-09, which was also 10-1. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I've had some experience rebuilding programs, and in my previous experience, I was at Regis College for a while, rebuilt the program there, and then again at St. Anselm. And usually year 2 is the toughest year. So this has been a really strange, honestly, a strange experience for me. But I feel like when I stepped in last year, the kids just, wanted kind of a fresh start. They wanted a clean slate, and they've just kind of bought into, rebuilding the culture and being really coachable. And they've just been so receptive to everything, and they've been really connected. So like I said before, I feel like we're ahead of where I thought we'd be. And in all my previous rebuilds, this was a really pleasant surprise, to be honest.
To be honest, you talk about the second year, sophomore slump, right? Like everybody expects that little sophomore hit. It's kind of funny you talk about you've kind of become this rebuilding coach, as you point out. But when you were at Southern Maine as a player, there was nothing rebuilding at Southern Maine. I'm curious where you got that idea, that experience, et cetera, or was it just that's what you learned and that's what you've gotten good at by trial by fire?
Yeah, I think it's kind of trial by fire for because as a young coach, when I got the job at Regis, I was 24, 25 years old, and I wanted an opportunity, and I took it, and I just tried to learn, and I took a lot of what I learned in my playing experience playing under the legendary coach Gary Fifield, and I was really, really blessed to, have had him as a coach, and to play with some amazing players, a lot of which have been coaches in their own right. But I took a lot of the concepts, a lot of, his teachings, and kind of changed as the years went on, and with the systems of play and how they've changed, and just try to keep evolving and learning and growing. And you kind of like assess every year. Every year it's like find your strengths, play to those, like hide your weaknesses as best as you can, and really connect with the kids and get them to buy into what you want to try to do. And like these kids have just done this in a much quicker amount of time than I anticipated. So, no, I think as a young coach, I just tried to learn and grow. And then I got another opportunity at the Division II level in kind of the same situation. I had to adjust, learn, and grow in a really competitive athletic league in the Northeast 10. And honestly, I really think that helped prepare me for kind of what I've seen, at least in the past year in the UAA. It's very similar style of play. Super athletic kids, dynamic guards, like you have to scheme against a lot of different styles. So I had a lot of experience doing that in the Northeast 10 too. And then I kind of took a step back, and when I was an assistant at Babson, learning from the legendary coach, Judy Blindstrom, I got to pick her brain for 2 years and just continue to learn and grow, even as an assistant, taking a step back from being a head coach. So I think I've evolved, I've changed, I've grown, I've kept an open mind, and trying new things and different things. And we're going to have to try a bunch of new and different things against NYU here this weekend. They're quite the challenging team. So, we're just going to do the best we can and keep learning and growing and trying to get better every day.
I've got to go through that. I was debating whether I wanted to go through your resume, and I don't remember how much we dove into it in past chats, but graduated again from Southern Maine in 2000. You become an assistant at Elmira 2000 to 2002. I think I'm getting this order right. Then worked in basketball and video operations for the Liberty in the WNBA in 2002. Then you joined Rhode Island University of 2002 to 2003. I don't know what you did for a year, but then you ended up at Regis 2005 to 2013. From 2013 to 2017, that's when you went D2 to St. Anselm. We should point out, again, as you said, Regis went to the first NCAA tournament in their program's history in 18 years. St. Anselm, you take them to the first one in 17 years. You cobble that into a job as an assistant at UMass Lowell, 17 to 18. Then you end up, if memory serves, let me get this right, you ended up at Pine Manor, right? Where you then became athletics director at one point. And then you ended up at Babson as an assistant. I would admit your road isn't necessarily the straight kind of uphill one that I'm very accustomed to. A weaving, winding trajectory, and obviously it doesn't matter if you get to where you want to go, but that's a fascinating road.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have mapped it out that way for sure, but honestly, every opportunity that I've gotten, I've just tried to do the best I can in every situation. And I think being a head coach for a long time and then being an assistant again, you become a better head coach by being an assistant again. I honestly believe that. And when I was at Pine Manor, it was an opportunity to be a head coach again. There are not a lot of Division III head coaching jobs in this New England area that open very often. So I, got another job, and then COVID hit, school closed. I had kids, and I took a step back, and then the opportunity with Judy to be an assistant. It's kind of all over the place, but I think it led me to this opportunity. Honestly, when I first started in coaching, I mean, I played against Brandeis as a player. I competed against Brandeis at Regis College. It's kind of always been on my bucket list, honestly. Like if this job ever opened, I would love the opportunity to be affiliated with a high academic university. The conference affiliation is unbelievable. What we get to do as a Division III university, like our facilities, our resources, like you can compete at the national level being in this conference and at this university. And that was kind of always my hope when I was a player. We played in 2 national championship games my sophomore and my senior year. Unfortunately lost to WashU in both of those games, so I'm familiar with the UAA and kind of get PTSD every time we talk about WashU. But like I appreciate the UAA, and to be part of it, it's just an unbelievable experience. And the kids were able to recruit to come to this university. It's just I feel so grateful and blessed. And for me to have to like go through what I went through to be able to get this opportunity, I'm cool with it. It's fine. It's wonderful. I take every day, like I walk into the facility every day and be like, wow, I get to work here. This is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting because you take over a program that was really in many regards in disarray. I mean, you had the scandal of Carol Simon, who was under allegations from the team, and then was off for a year, and they had an interim coach. They go 5-20 around year that they gone 6-19 and 9-15 prior to that. She decides to resign. Job opens up. You step in. 12-13 in the first year. Now you're 10-1. You come into a lot of unknowns. And again, you talk about a rebuild. You got that experience at least. But what's it like to enter a program that's maybe in more disarray than any other that you had to run into?
Yeah, it's actually probably sounds more challenging than it was. I mean, I feel like I was really fortunate because like the kids, like literally they just wanted a fresh start. And I just try to come in and like just be myself and listen to them and create relationships with each and every one of them and just try to move forward in a positive direction. That's like all I had control over. And they were open to that. And like I've had to deal with some challenging situations in every position that I've been in. I mean, at St. Anselm, they took away our scholarships for a whole year. I had to recruit to a Division II university that was going to compete in the Northeast 10 with no scholarships. And the program, the university was talking about going Division II, or excuse me, dropping down to Division III and joining the NUMAC. So
yeah, that's a botch we can talk about for years.
Yeah, it was wild. So like having to navigate that, I think that helped prepare me to be able to like focus on the kids, focus on relationships, focus on moving forward in a positive direction, and just like let's try to grow together. And that's, I mean, and every position that a head coach walks into, whether it's like, a really successful program, well, now you got to keep the program to be, up to a success level. If you come into a program that's struggling, now you got to rebuild. Like there's always going to be a challenge. But if you can just stay true to yourself and focus on the kids and create a great experience for them to practice and play in every day, and I think that's like that'll help move everything forward like quickly. So, and I think it's happened here so far. Knock on wood. We have a huge challenge coming up, but like our UAA play, but our kids are in really good headspaces, and we're hopefully preparing them in the best way that we can, and we'll just move forward.
Well, you're led by a couple of interesting players and seniors, Abby Kennedy and Catherine Vaughn, kind of this guard forward center kind of playoff. Kennedy out of Half Moon Bay, California, leads the team in scoring at nearly 20 points a game, which is on top of the UAA right now, which is certainly saying something. Scored 20 or more games in 6 of 11. Honorable mention in the conference last year. Catherine Vaughn, obviously your post player, 11.5 points a game, 7.5 boards per contest, leads the conference in blocked shots. You kind of have that yin yang with those two that everything else can feed off of, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny, like Abby in the first semester, she wrecked her ankle in our Babson game, didn't even play like the second, third, or fourth quarter, and was literally playing on one leg for every game. She missed one game and then came back, and like the kid is so like tough. She's athletic. She can finish. She can shoot it. She's just really hard to scheme against. So we've relied heavily on her, and she's come back after the break. She's really healthy. She's feeling really good. So we're so excited to see what she has in store for our next challenge. And then Catherine, just so athletic, and she runs the floor. And this is probably like one of those like unsung things, but she's a really strong vocal leader. She's one of our captains, along with Abby and along with Brooke Reed. And like the three of those kids together, they balance each other out so well, and they keep our team so connected. So yeah, it's yin and yang, but we have so many other pieces that have stepped up. Like our point guard, Savia Shabazz, like I didn't know who was going to run the point this year after Lulu graduated, and she just stepped in and was so steady as a sophomore, and organized us, and she's developing her leadership skills vocally, and she's just done a really good job defensively too. And then we've had two other kids kind of step up from off the bench. Jazzy Perez, who came in, transferred from Rochester, and Sophia Barisha came in, transferred from Babson, and they've just been so steady. They've been like a scoring punch for us, and Sophia's such a good passer. She facilitates really well. Jazzy's such a good defender and jump shooter. Like we have other people stepping up to help support those two kids. So, and then our grad student, Elena, was out the whole first, if we had Elena, oh boy, for the whole first semester, scary things gonna happen. But she was out with mono. I think she played in our last two games, and she was a transfer from Binghamton, only played half the year last year. She is finally healthy, and hopefully she'll be able to contribute a little bit more, but she's playing really well. She's feeling good. So yeah, we have a lot of pieces too on top of those two kids.
And Sophia, no, Brooke Reed is missed a little bit of time, but it looks like she's coming back for you too.
Yeah, Brooke was out. She kind of tweaked her knee in our second practice of the season, and she was out for, God, almost over a month. And she actually played really well against MIT and against Wheaton. So she's another one that's coming back. She gives us a huge offensive and defensive presence at the post spot. So we're so deep in the post. It's nice. We can throw a lot of bodies at a lot of teams and put a lot of pressure on them around the basket. So yeah, and Brooke's like, her vocal leadership is outstanding. She's so positive. She's so enthusiastic. She connects people. So yeah, her as well.
Julie, there's one player on this team that jumped out at me. She's a sophomore, played in 4 games this year, out of Cambridge, Mass, Miss Hall's school. I know Miss Hall's from my Salisbury school days. Her last name's Fifield. Any relation to Gary?
No, she's no relation to Gary.
I just didn't know if it was a quirk or something that I'm like, I know it was out of Massachusetts, but it's New England, right? And,
yeah,
okay,
no.
That's wild.
Yeah, she transferred from FDU Florham and came in and so she's technically a sophomore. So this is her first year with our team too, and she's learning and growing, and yeah, but no relation to Gary Fifield.
By the way, this says she transferred from FDU, one of the two. But that's
not
funny,
Fairleigh Dickinson University, not that. Yeah,
one of the two are there.
One of them.
Listen, obviously NYU is ahead. You mentioned a couple times, we talked about it at the intro. Undefeated, going for the record. You talked about, the Wash U, because that's the record we're talking about, that when you were a player, you certainly knew that one. You're going up against a coach who knew it from the other end as well at NYU. They're on a march. I'm not saying anything. Who knows what can happen in a game, but it is at home. You get to start the first 3 games in the UAA conference at home. If anything, this is the perfect opportunity, but how do you prepare for a team like that? And how do you make sure your team isn't kind of blinded a little bit by the light?
Well, one of the positives is most of our kids have faced them that will be on the floor last year, previous year. So they kind of know it's coming, but you never really know. So kind of we try to do the best we can in practice and you can't do what NYU does. It's like, so we try to do it 7-on-5. A lot of the time we'll throw a couple extra bodies on the floor and press our kids and make them go through our press breaks and do different things. But it's just so hard to replicate their intensity, their length, their athleticism, their relentlessness defensively. And then, you get a good shot and you miss it and they're driving the ball right down your throat, miss or make, they fly up the floor. They're so fast. So we're just we're working a lot on, trying to replicate some pressure work on our press breaks and working on, transition defense as best we can. Getting up to the 3-point line. They have, so many kids who can shoot the three at such a high percentage. I like that we're at home. When we played them last year at home, we played them a little bit tougher. It was the end of the season. We had more reps together, but, we have a veteran group. They have a lot of belief in themselves. We're just going to do the best we can. We're going to, we have some schemes, some things we're going to try. I get a bunch of timeouts. We have media timeouts, so I get to yell at my kids even more and try to reorganize them a few extra times. So we'll do the best we can, but they're so good. They're so deep. Meg does such a good job. Like, I would love to be a fly on the wall at their practices and what she makes them do and the intensity that they must play at a practice to be able to do what they do in games. It's so impressive. But I will say this, every good thing comes to an end. When I played WashU, didn't win every game, so it's every good thing comes to an end at some point. Will it be this year? Will it be next year? Will it be 5 years down the road? I don't know. But we're going to give them a fight. That's all we can do.
Geez, Julie, 5 years. That's a scary thought.
Right.
You obviously, you two, by the way, were both at the Regis event where you both played Regis and Swarthmore. Did you guys take time to try and watch NYU in that opening weekend event? Or was it one of those things where that's too far away? We're not going to get distracted. We're focused on the two teams here today.
I mean, I watched the game, but yeah, we didn't really, as a staff, coaching staff, we didn't really talk about it. We just kind of watched the games, and I might have tried to steal a couple play calls because I'm just sitting in the stands. But other than that, we try to take it one game at a time, not look too far ahead, not get too high, not get too low, just face what's in front of us and do the best we can with our opportunities. So.
And quickly, this conference looks interesting. Obviously, no conference games have taken place, so these records are all based on out-of-conference schedules, and make or take whatever you want from those. But Rochester and Case Western are both 7-4. Carnegie's 8-3. Chicago's 8-2. WashU's 9-2. Yourselves, NYU and Emory, all 10-1. NYU, 11-0. I mean, on paper, this looks like it could be uber competitive, which we're not used to on the women's side in terms of depth. How do you see this conference shaking out this season?
I hope it's going to be really competitive. I mean, every team, I kind of looked at the schedules and looked who people played and who people lost to. And I mean, I feel like everyone in our conference could maybe get an at-large bid if we keep it competitive. It's just tough. So I don't like to give predictions. I know every coach is good. I know every program is so talented. They have depth. They have, some skilled players who shouldn't be playing in Division III basketball, in my opinion. Every program has, something they do really well. It's trying to just game plan the best you can and keep your kids in a positive mindset no matter what happens. Focus on the next game. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. But it's going to be a juggernaut, to be honest. Every single game in this conference is tough.
Well, looking forward to seeing how not only this weekend plays out, but the whole rest of the season plays out for the Judges and your squad. Certainly a great start to the season at 10-1. Congratulations on that. Playing with house money to some degree. I know you want high expectations for conference play. But good luck, and thanks for taking the time to carve out to chat with us. As always, we give the guests the last word, though. Any final thoughts you want to share with those tuned in?
Oh, please keep watching women's basketball. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thank you. Women's basketball, certainly a big fan here. Julie, take care of yourself. We'll look forward to catching up with you down the road.
Take care.
Julie Pritchett joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline again. NYU's won 73 straight, tying Ashland for the fourth longest in NCAA history. Takes on Brandeis coming up on Saturday. You never know. Good things do come to an end at some point. We'll see how it plays out starting on Saturday. When we come back, plenty more Hoopsville ahead. You're watching Hoopsville, presented at D3Hoops.com from the WBCA studios.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit NABC.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's NABC.com or NABC 1927 on social media.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We are the coaches of women's basketball. We are leaders and teachers, dreamers and winners. We are professionals who conduct ourselves ethically and with integrity. We place the education, safety, and well-being of the athletes we coach above all else and teach them the fundamental values they need to succeed in life. We are coaches united for the good of our game and those who play it. We are the WBCA.
I learned a lot of valuable lessons playing college football. I never thought about the health benefits of exercise until I actually started to talk to coaches in college. It's not only just for performance, it's for life. My coaches instilled the importance of well-being, not only building up strength, mental health, getting enough sleep, eating properly is all what it is to be healthy. I decided that I want to go into personal trainer and share my knowledge that I obtained in college about physical and mental well-being.
For the love of the game. But for those of us who are Division III student athletes, it's more than that, a lot more.
Sure, the game is important, but as we work so hard to build both mind and body, it's more about team.
That is why NCAA Division III teamed up with Special Olympics, and in giving the gift of sport to those for whom it seemed an impossible dream, we are working to make this a better world.
Help us keep that dream alive.
You can make a difference.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com. Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody, on this Thursday evening as we continue along, switching men's gears here in a minute. Of course, you can email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. Join us on the live chat. I'm available right now because we're still in some tape segments. When we come up, we'll wrap up the show. I'll throw my 2 cents in on whatever topic I decided to pick on today. Also on Instagram and Twitter and all that, at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville. We're switching back to men's basketball, jumping into the SAA, which certainly is interesting this year now that Trinity, Texas, and Southwestern are in the conference, along with Millsaps, Sewanee, Oglethorpe, Rhodes Center, and Barry. Also some coaching changes and all that made this conference a little bit more interesting this season. And the team that is atop, granted we've only played 1 game, there are 4 teams atop, but Millsaps is having a pretty good season, 10-2 this year, 1-0 in conference play, coming off of a win against Rhodes. And when you look at some of their scores, you kind of see a team that's kind of resurged after a 5-21 season last year. That's always a way to get on the show. You do a season like that, you flip things around. I don't care what the rest of the season looks like. We're going to talk to you about it.
Joining us on the Hoopsville Hotline to talk about it is Kuykendall, the head coach of the aforementioned majors. Coach, welcome to the show. Congratulations on what is certainly a bang-up halfway point in the season.
I appreciate it. I think all D3 coaches have said this probably or thought this, but when you make it on Hoopsville, you know you're doing something right. So I appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, you're either doing something right or something's gone terribly wrong.
You might be bored.
Yeah, then we're having a conversation that maybe we don't want to really have. Yeah, I mean, 10-2, Coach. I mean, you get off the out of the gate with wins over Huntington and LaGrange, and you continued rolling with Belhaven and Mississippi University of Women and Austin. Ozarks tripped you up, certainly. Laterno tripped you up. But listen, you've got to be happy with a team that was 5-21 last year to be sitting here with a program that's strong 10-2, good start to conference play, et cetera, and in your first year. It's a pretty good start.
Yeah, I'll take it for sure. I think if you had told me this back in September that this is where we'd be sitting, I would obviously have been happy and taken it no matter where the losses came from and kind of who's done what for our team. So definitely excited about the start. Still a lot ahead of us, with SAA play getting underway, but the guys that we've inherited from the previous staff and the guys we brought in have been great from the jump of kind of buying into a style of play that's different from what they're used to. And it's made it fun for sure and enjoyable to see the results match the work our guys have put in.
A quick aside, Mary Hardin Baylor grad, we should point out that job obviously was open at the same time. Did you have aspirations with that? Did you have aspirations elsewhere? Did this kind of job fall in place? What was it about Millsaps essentially that you wanted to take on?
Well, full transparency, right? I was in need of a job, and so I was at Southwestern. Things didn't work out. And so the opportunity presented itself. Athletic director, former women's coach, Justin LeBlanc, and I have been friends for over a decade. He used to be on the men's side back when we were all younger, and not as gray haired. And so, he was named athletic director a year ago while he was finishing up being the women's coach. And when I was in look for a new opportunity, the coach previously here at Millsaps decided to step away and go a different route as well. So, we spoke. I felt like at the time, just with the where I had been the last few years, it was a good fit for me knowing the administration, and being familiar with Justin and his vision. Jimmy Smith, who I played college basketball with, who's been at Trinity, he was at Millsaps for pre-COVID. So I had a lot of internal advice on the landscape of Millsaps, and it being a good opportunity for me, looking to refresh and get a restart on kind of the last few years being a struggle with my coaching career. So talked to Justin, met people in administration. The biggest thing for me, I think every coach knows this, is when those things happen and you're married with kids, the wife has to be on board with the change. To move from Austin, Texas to Jackson, Mississippi. My wife and I are both from Texas, two little kids that obviously have grown up in Georgetown, essentially, where I was at. I told Justin, obviously I was intrigued and was grateful for just the opportunity to come see campus and meet with everybody, but my wife had to be on board. So he did a good job of showing her kind of what the community is like in Jackson and at Millsaps. So we're just grateful for the opportunity, to be honest with you. It was a really tough time in a career, and you're in that kind of that transition phase where you got to figure out what's best for you and your family. And I wanted to go to a place where I felt like there was something there, whether it was administration or past success, that showed me that there's a blueprint to be had. And so did I think we'd be 10-2? Obviously I didn't think that far ahead, but I felt like it was a place that if I came in and had the opportunity to kind of just work hard, which is kind of what I value myself on, that I felt like at some point we could be competitive in the SAA. And that was kind of my hope and vision of it all.
First off, LeBlanc's nuts for taking over the AD job and walking away from the women's program. I've already told him that. Second of all, you would have been in this conference no matter where you were if you stayed at Southwestern or here. So that's kind of an interesting twist on the whole thing. I'm curious what you said to the squad or what you've been preaching to this group. You said guys have stayed. You've obviously had some new talent as well. What's been the message about letting go of the past, embracing what is new and moving forward that's worked so well to 10-2?
I've always tried to be fully transparent, and so for me, I talked a lot about my past successes and failures and just said, hey, this is a new opportunity for me. I've got a chip on my shoulder to kind of, have this second chance, a second life, so to speak. And I felt strongly with what I was going to try to do, that there's a blueprint in place where our style of play with what we're doing, Trinity, where Jimmy Smith was, I hired one of his assistant coaches to come with me to Millsaps. He was my top recruit. I tell people that all the time. He was my top recruit in the offseason. My assistant coach, Griffin Levine, is an up-and-comer, played Division III. He's been on the staff at Trinity. And so we were kind of play similar style, make it fit our personnel, but we had the same idea from what type of defense we were wanting to run with the offensive schematics behind it all. And so for me, it was just like, hey, this is proven to work, right? How quickly we're going to be able to get it to work, because we're teaching 21 new guys versus naturally you're teaching the new guys every year, but you at least have a little bit of carryover with knowing kind of how we want to do things. But I said the blueprint's there. Like I said, I was fortunate where I played in the NCAA tournament as a senior at Mary Hardin Baylor for the first time in program history. I coached on the staff Mary Hardin Baylor in the NCAA tournament. I took Schreiner University to the NCAA tournament for the first time in program history. Griffin, made the NCAA tournament as a player, made the NCAA tournament as an assistant. So I tried to show them that we've been there, so we know what it looks like. And so we really just were fully transparent on, here's what we're going to do. We're going to establish standards and expectations. If you want to be a part of it, stick around. It's going to be hard work. It's going to be sacrifice, but the blueprint's there. We just got to fully commit and jump in the deep end and commit to this style of play. And luckily, we also then brought in some really good newcomers to add with what we inherited. And luckily there too, the guys that we inherited have been unbelievable at opening up. And a lot of those guys have sacrificed in roles and playing time. So it's made our culture and all that stuff an easier transition, to be honest with me, than what I was expecting. And so the full credit, a lot of it goes to the players. They've been open to it. I think that they were tired. The returns were tired of not having success. And we just been on them a lot on committing to certain areas of this is what we're going to do every day. This is how we're going to play. And if we commit to it, results should follow. And so the players have been great at just kind of committing to that philosophy.
Talking about those guys who came in, you're led by two who transferred in Jackson Tony and Davion James. Tony at 14.5 points a game, 8 boards. James at 14 points a game, 4 boards. Probably one of the leading steal guys on your team. Tony gets the most blocks by a landslide. Both shoot very well. Tony's shooting 58% from the floor. James 38% from deep. And then you have Cameron Lumar, who's one of those holdovers. He was an all-conference honorable mention 2 years ago. That's the trio that kind of scoring double figures along with Colt Donnelly. There's what you're talking about. You got guys who are coming in making their presence known already, and you got a guy like Lumar who's kind of had a rebounding season.
Yeah, I think through the recruitment process with some of those guys, usually when you're transferring, it's not always bad, but sometimes they're just looking for a fresh start. And so I think for us, it was being transparent of like, hey, I'm in the same boat, right? So what better coach to come play for than a guy who's coming in with hungry and is going to give you an opportunity to come in and play and compete, for playing time, right? I told those guys when I met with them last spring that, hey, nothing's promised for anybody in this program, new or old. And so that's kind of what we established. And so we were very fortunate where we were able to dip our toes into the transfer market. To add with, like I said, what we inherited. We felt like there were some pieces that, like I said, Cam Lumar, as you mentioned, had a really down year last year with some injuries and tried to play through some injuries. But if you look at his freshman numbers, really impressive. And so we just felt like we wanted to add guys that, again, fit kind of the mentality, which was chip on the shoulder, refresh, want to be a part of trying to turn a program around, something to hopefully when they look back 15, 20 years from now, something that they can be proud about when they come back for our alumni events, and I'm asking them to donate money to the program. And so that's where I think that fit for those guys, along with some, David Combest, who's a junior college transfer, but Cole Donnelly came from Covenant, Division III transfer. And so having those guys, I think, with their hunger as well, to add in with the guys that we inherited that were really hungry to change the narrative of Millsaps basketball, that's where it's all kind of gelled together really well for us. I think, for us, having 7 guys that average 7 to 15 points has been fun to coach because we don't really have to fully depend on one guy necessarily game in and game out to do all the heavy lifting. And that's allowed us to kind of, I think, focus more on other areas, knowing that the offense will take care of itself.
Well, and something interesting, too, is those first 4 guys we mentioned are all juniors. The first senior you get to in terms of the scoring stats is Caleb Kent, a senior, also a transfer from a community college. But, again, you've got these guys, and while we're not looking to the 26-27 season, you've got these guys, at least on paper, for another year. You're building still to some degree, and what they're learning now is helpful. And again, 10-2, 1-0 in conference. Everyone's also getting used to the conference travel at Rhodes last weekend, at Center and Sewanee this weekend. You're all kind of getting used to a little bit of some of the newness, and in early conference play, you're hitting the road, so you're getting to gel as a team a little bit, I assume.
Yeah, they're a fun group, and the travel for us, I think we're kind of in that weird location where we're just close enough where we can make the bus work, just far, not really where the flights make sense for us. And so, for us, we've been on the road for the past 24 hours. We're going to practice here later on this evening at Center. And once again, this is all new to me as well. I've never been to Danville, Kentucky. I've never been to Sewanee. I've never been to a lot of these places in our league. And so for us, I talked a lot about the guys where, when half your roster is new, it's new for a lot of us. So let's embrace the travel. We got to sit down at a restaurant last night with the women's team at the same time and eat separately, of course, because we didn't want the waiters to hate us completely. But sometimes you don't get to do that as much on the road. You're getting pizza and you're just trying to go from point A to point B as fast as possible to make this time. And so one of the things for us is we try to enjoy our time when it's not as stressful. We'll meet here probably in a couple hours and do a little scout prep and things like that. That's when we'll focus in a little bit more on what we're here for and hopefully have good practice. And, it's new for a lot of us. So we're kind of going through this ride together, which has made it enjoyable.
Yeah. 9-hour drive, 600 plus miles. If you're in a car from central western Mississippi to central dead center Kentucky. And interesting, obviously, first time in the conference. So the fact you're playing Center and Gavin Root in his interim year after Greg Mason stepped down is kind of irrelevant. It's interesting in that sense. You guys are learning the team as much as they're learning themselves. But what do you make of this weekend's matchup, at least with Center, who you have first coming up on Friday, and then Sewanee, who you'll have coming up on Sunday?
Well, through my little bit of experience, just looking through the history of the SAA, and just obviously I'm a D3 nerd, so I'm familiar with everything and all the regions, definitely down toward the south. And so, Center's been, I think, probably the most consistent face of the SAA, in the past 20 years when, maybe back when the Trinity was in there a little bit in the old school days. And I know Barry's had a good run and there's been some sprinkles here and there, but I think there's just something about Center consistently probably being always at the top of the league. And so you got to respect that. They're young as well. They're playing hard. They've had, one of their losses against Randolph-Macon, which obviously besides, without that crazy buzzer beater last night or whatever it was, they're usually pretty good as well. So it's going to be a tough test for us, and then you got that tough test and then you got to drive 5 hours the next day and try to get prepared for Sewanee, who just beat Center at Sewanee this past weekend. With arguably one of the better players in our league, with their big guy. And so it's going to be a tough test for us. And I think obviously, as you know, and everyone understands, right, winning on the road is difficult no matter where you're at, no matter what level, whether you're an hour away, whether you're 5 hours away. So for us, it's about trying to, get our guys prepared to be ready to play two teams that are hungry to get off to a good start. And obviously, when you're 10-2 and maybe have taken some teams by surprise early on in the year with the success now, and they're ready for us. There's no surprise now, right? And so they're looking probably at this as a great opportunity to take a win away from a 10-2 team and and get a conference win. So our guys hopefully are ready for the test. We're looking forward to it as a staff and getting our guys ready to go. But it's tough to win on the road, especially when you have a team that's historically really good like Center. And then Sewanee, who had a really good team year last year, lost a lot of seniors, but then they go beat Center. So, it's just conference play, man. You just hopefully your guys show up ready to go and respect the process, respect the opponents, and hopefully we can put a good product on the floor.
I think I figured out why maybe it's working in the first year at Millsaps. I went and double checked your previous head coaching stops. Shriner Maroon is their primary color. Southwestern, it's yellow and black. Millsaps is purple, which, if memory serves, is Mary Hardin Baylor's primary color. Maybe it's a purple thing, Coach.
It might be. Unfortunately, I'd gotten rid of a lot of my purple stuff over the years because that was so long ago. But and my wife's a UMHB alum as well, so she's definitely not anti-purple. So it might be the purple thing. Maybe that's something I just need to keep in mind and just I try to wear purple when I coach on the sideline. So maybe that's the key to the success.
I know some coaches who wear their opponent's colors. Some wear their home colors. You can always call Deweese. I'm pretty sure he'll be able to hook you up if you need it.
Yeah, he's been great. Obviously, he keeps in touch with all of his former players. He sent me a nice text, I think it was a month ago, probably around Thanksgiving time, just, talking about how proud he was and happy for me. So, it's great to have someone like that in your corner. And usually when I've talked to him, I try not to bore him with talking about basketball because that's what he's done for his whole life. So it's usually checking in on his 20 grandkids that I think he has now and just his retired life living in Salado, just with taking care of his pool and taking care of his house like he loves to.
I don't know if he knows anything else to talk about but basketball. Let's be honest.
I don't think he had too many hobbies unless he just was lying to us. That's what he always told us, that all he did was basketball. So
that's what he told me too.
Yeah. Whether or not it's true or not, I don't know. But
I would get calls from him with information. Like Dave Hickson. The two of them were watching way too much basketball for their own good.
It worked for him. So if you're not going to have other hobbies, you better win a lot of games. And he definitely did that.
You're absolutely right. Again, you're on this road trip. You'll end this road trip. You'll play 4 at home then it's 4 on the road, and you'll finish with 3 at home. It's not ideal, but it's at least consistent. It is. I realize the SAA may kind of revisit everything, as it were, but is it okay to kind of have them in chunks instead of having them constantly alternating?
Can I circle back with you in 2 months on that?
Fair.
I don't know.
No, fair.
We'll find out. Listen, I think everywhere there's going to be ups and downs, and there's going to be, man, that sun's really shining in. I don't know if that's a good look, if that looks good on camera. But I think there's always going to be ways we can, look to reevaluate some things and do this different. All I know is we can't change that. We can't control that. I think our league is really good from top down. And so it's already been proven that, that you can lose at home and you can win at home. And so for us, we're just focusing on giving great effort on Friday night. And then hopefully we can reevaluate what worked, what didn't work, prepare for Sewanee, and then go into another tough weekend where you got an up-and-coming Southwestern team that obviously I'm familiar with, that's off to a really good start. And then obviously you have Trinity, which is off to a really good start as well, and an proven track record in the past. So, right now we're really just trying to get ourselves mentally and physically ready for this weekend. And then as we get to that Monday, Tuesday, we figure out what's best for us physically going into that weekend as well.
Yeah, Trinity coming in has certainly made the conference deeper, as it were. Again, I appreciate you finding time to chat with us, especially on the road, dealing with everything that has to come with that. And congratulations. It's not easy to take over a new program. It's not easy to get the results that you guys have already. 10-2 is certainly nothing to scoff at, no matter what happens the rest of the way. And good luck this weekend, obviously, with Center and Sewanee and the rest of the way. We always have a tradition on this show, whether you know that or not, that we always give the guests the final word. Any final thoughts you want to share with those who may be tuned in?
I mean, just like everybody, thanks for what you do for our level. It's great for everybody to be able to have full access to different programs and hear different insights from players and coaches at this level. It's been great, for everything you guys have done and how much this has grown. Our level has grown. I remember my senior year sitting in an apartment of my teammates, listening through the computer on the selection show, and hearing Mary Hardin Baylor for the first time, and us to now it being just such a, how much we've grown just through all y'all's work that y'all put into the brand of Division III basketball. It's been a fun ride for me, being a former Division III player, and besides 1 year being at this level. So again, thank you for everything you've done. It's amazing as a D3 lifer, and fun to watch. And so very fortunate that I got the invite, and I just hopefully I didn't waste too much of your time on this interview today.
No, I love finding out more things about teams and coaches, and this is why we do it. So thank you for your time. Good luck this weekend. Safe travels. We'll look forward to catching up with the program at a later date.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Connor Kuykendall joining us here on the Hoopsville Hotline. Feeling a little dated there with the 08 reference. Not me specifically, but I remember those shows as well. We hosted a few ourselves on the radio-only portion of this beast. I have to think it's 09 was our first year. It might have been 08, might have been our first year really doing video. When we come back, we will wrap up the show, my 2 cents, and so much more. Thanks for tuning in. We come back live when we return. You're listening to Hoopsville, presented by D3Hoops.com for the WBCA studios. Back with so much more when we return.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's nearly 850 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over 2 decades. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
The National Association of Basketball Coaches is the nation's premier professional development and advocacy organization for basketball coaches at every level. The NABC strives to serve as the voice for coaches on national issues while advancing the core value of leadership, service, advocacy, education, and inclusion. To learn more about the NABC and to become a member, visit nabc.com and follow the NABC on social media at NABC1927. That's nabc.com or NABC1927 on social media.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
In any way that we can.
To get a friend home safe.
To never blame the victim.
It's on us.
To stand up.
To make our community safe for all. It's on us.
It's on us to look out for each other at parties.
It's on us.
To be more than just a bystander.
To step up and say something.
It's on us, all of us.
To stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
If I lose, I'll respond with respect.
If I win, I'll back it up with humility.
If I fail, I'll rise up with honor. It's tough for us to put it all on the line.
Don't undo my hard work with poor sportsmanship.
Respect. It's the name of the game.
Coach of the Year, Administrator of the Year, All-America Team, Wade Trophy. The WBCA doesn't just honor coaches, but players, administrators, and much more. The WBCA strives to honor those who have contributed to the advancement of women's basketball. Celebrate the present, honor the past, look to the future.
I used to never really talk, ever. I was afraid if I said something wrong, everyone would laugh at me. But then I started to play golf with Special Olympics. It helped me to find my voice. And now everyone else is speechless.
Welcome back to Hoopsville, everybody. I'm your host, Dave McHugh, coming to you live again from the Hoopsville studios. I was going to present a 2 cents tonight on fan behavior, but I'll be honest, I'm going to pull the plug. I am struggling with this cold. And I can't get through a segment without having to go find some more tissues and all that. All of you wondering, I have taken more medicine than I can shake a stick at. I'm trying to stay off the medicine, to be completely honest, so that I don't get too dependent on it. It's not working. So we're going to pull the plug. There's plenty of 2 cents. I got to get to one on Monday regarding the convention that starts next week. So we'll get to that. We'll get to fan behavior. I promise you. I'm not going to forget what I saw. It is an easy topic to tackle. So we will get to that at the future. I promise you. I did want to remind everybody about buymeacoffee.com. This is how you can support us and what we do here on the show. Excuse me. You can sign up for different levels of membership, with the highest being the ability to essentially, sorry, I'm doing 3 things at the same time, which is never easy. Different levels. Some of them will get you access to my top 25 ballot, which I do owe the current members this week, so I apologize. I will get that done tonight or tomorrow. You can hear the cold coming back. Or I will get, and then we have some shop items and stuff. Here's what the website looks like. Actually, that's not even the one you should see. Let's try this page. This is what you get to. You can buy a coffee here, make it a monthly donation, or come down here and become a member. The $5 one's the easy one, the $15 one. Or involved, and it goes up. We're going to be putting a shop together with some other things that you can purchase in ways of supporting us. Get access to the Top 25 Double Take Show, which you can see there, and ballots, which you can see here, and other stuff like the Off Court podcast, which is coming. So help us out. We appreciate it. Small donations, and helps us continue our work from here on out. We also have an Amazon gift wish list, which we'll put together some information about as well and post. I want to thank our guests for tonight's show. Absolutely awesome. Edwind McGhee from North Park, Hirt from Denison, Julie Pritchett from Brandeis, and Connor Kuykendall from Millsaps. I want to thank their sports information departments, Tyler, Haley, Ashley, Martin, Christopher, Adam, for all your help with helping us get the segments put together and promotions, etc. Really appreciate it. We're going to be back on the air. Next week should be a regular week for us. Monday we'll be on the air at noon. Thursday as well. We'll have our Top 25 show next Monday evening as well. Yep, everything should be good next week. The following week on the 19th, we're going to have to go with an evening show because I've got a gig mid-afternoon. Excuse me, cannot fight this off. The 22nd, we'll be back to 12 o'clock. 26th should be good. 29th, we should be good as well. Beginning of February, we'll have to move another show. We just have some different jobs that come up and get in the way, et cetera, et cetera. Continue talking to coaches and student athletes. I got a good one coming up on Monday. I'm looking forward to. We got to book it. I don't want to make promises just yet. But that's coming up on Monday. Again, normally in the past, we've dedicated that these are the regions we will talk to on these particular days. I'm trying to not do that this year and just rotate as I track everything and keep track of what I'm doing, and see if we can still hit all the regions we need and add myself a little bit of flexibility to it when needed. If that doesn't work, then in February we'll lock ourselves down to the 5 regions we talk about on each particular day. But as of now, you might be used to that in the past. We used to talk to the 4 or 5 regions a night. We're going to try and just stay away from that, but still rotate. So, for example, we talked to Region 8, 7, 2, and 6 this week. So those won't be on the air on Monday, for example. We'll talk to other regions on Monday. And if we talk to Region 8 this time, we talk to men. Well, next time we'll talk to a women's team. So that's how we'll rotate things. So that's how it should work. We'll see if it actually does work out that way. But that's how we do it. If you have guest ideas, though, email us, hoopsville@d3sports.com. We'd love to hear from you. You can also become a member and send us a message that way as well. You can send us a tweet at D3Hoopsville if you have a guest idea. That works as well. And so many other ways. We've had great shows so far this season. This is episode, I think, 15 already, counting our top 25 work, and there's so many more episodes to come. So thank you for tuning in. Like I said, this cold is killing me, so I'm ripping the cord off this tonight. Try lay low and be back and hopefully fresh without a cold on Monday. Also try to work on our audio, see if we can get a little bit better audio on our mics as well. Thank you again for tuning in. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Great conversations. We will look at what the top 25 could look like again on Monday. We already know Randolph-Macon on the men's side is lost. There'll be more upsets in the top 10, or at least losses in the top 10. Lacrosse lost, for example. There'll be even more of those coming up. And on the women's side, some big games ahead of us this weekend that could shake out the top 25 as well. Again, go to buymeacoffee.com/Hoopsville and contribute to our cause and help us continue the work we do. And with that in mind, thank you again, North Park, Denison, Brandeis, and Millsaps for being on the show. Hope you're enjoying it. If you want to talk Division III basketball, you've got to listen to Hoopsville. Tune in on Monday when we get back to it here from the Hoopsville studios, talking everything about Division III basketball. I'm your host, Dan McHugh. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks to the help of D3Hoops.com, the Women's Basketball Coaches Association as well. We'll see you on Monday.